Greetings, salutations, and hello, and also happy Thursday the 12th, almost Friday the 13th. That's cool that we're doing this whole episode today. Today is a spooky, scary episode in honor of Friday the 13th tomorrow, and it's also October. Today we're going to be looking at a metric ton of my horror action figures. This is probably one of my favorite things to collect. I started kind of young, with the Kenner Predators and Aliens and stuff, and then from there, over the years I've collected quite a bit of stuff. Let's just jump right in. First, I wanted to start it off. You can't talk about horror at all without mentioning the Universal monsters. You can't really. You gotta honor them before you get to the 80s and all that kind of, in the 90s and all that stuff. So I thought that we could look at a new figure I got. This is the Mezco 112 Frankenstein figure, based on the likeness of Boris Karloff. So this is an incredible figure. So I've showed a few 112 figures in the line, but this kind of figure shows the range that Mezco is going for. They have some really Diabolic is one of the figures that they're coming out with. Ash from Evil Dead 2, Michael Myers, stuff like that. And a lot of Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead figures. But what's cool is these are the 6-inch standard that we're kind of used to with action figures in today's generation. But they're tailored clothes, and so it's kind of like a little mini Hot Toys. But this figure I would almost say is kind of like Hot Toys quality, because of just all the paint apps and everything on this Frankenstein figure. He comes with this really cool base. Here, I'll take his little extra accessories off. It's like the electricity, like the thing he's brought to life with electricity. How that works, they didn't care back then, and I don't care now. I should mention this is Frankenstein's monster. Sorry to anybody furiously typing right now, about to correct me. This is Frankenstein's monster. But what I think is cool about this figure is that he has these really cool, his fingertips are black and burnt. That kind of makes sense to me. What he was getting when he was being brought to life, being electrocuted to life. It doesn't make sense. We're just gonna roll with it. So he would his nerve endings and all that, and all that nice stuff would get burnt and stuff. So I thought that was really cool. He does come with 2 different heads. He has the face. That's the only way you can explain it. And then he's got the nice mellow, I'm a dead guy face. And then he has the kind of the clutched or the open extended hands. How you would picture. One of the misconceptions about Frankenstein, fun little fact here, is that when he would walk like this with his hands out like that, that was actually from one of the sequels to the Frankenstein films. I can't remember which one it is offhand. Half-ass fact, hashtag half-ass fact. So Boris Karloff played him as if this Frankenstein was blind. So that's why he walked out with the arms, and that's where that misconception came from, or in all of Frankenstein stuff. But damn, is it fun to pose him like that and put him in your little graveyard and have him walking around. He also does come with the cool little shackles, and they do open, and he can break out of them and stuff. So that's really cool. Like I said, he's got 2 extra hands. It reminds me of Edward Scissorhands almost, where where they look like wax almost. It's a really cool material. It's almost if you held it up to the light, it's almost translucent. It's kind of cool. It's got a really good matte kind of finish. Really good paint job on this. This is very impressive stuff. So we're gonna move along, and we're gonna get to the first. This was just a bonus. We're gonna move along and get to the main events here. So one of the first really big leaps for horror figures was the Movie Maniacs McFarlane Toys line, and so this line was launched in 1998, and it started with a few figures. Had I've got them list. I got a little list here. It's I actually don't have the list, but there was a bunch of them, and you know, it kind of started off soft, right? I think it was like a Leatherface from the first one, Jason and Freddy, and I think, oh yeah, it was Eve from the Species movies. Yeah, a very obscure and weird '90s movie, but yeah, that was what they were. So I remember seeing these figures when I was very young, and so it was 1998, so I was probably like 7 or 8, and when I saw these, I was so like, at the time, these were like the top tier of like figure, you know, the sculpting, the painting, like all that stuff was like the best that a lot of people had seen, because McFarlane Toys was kind of known for that in the 90s. Not really known for articulation, and known for the fragility of these figures. I'm not illiterate. I am. See, there you go. So all of these figures were kind of harshly articulated, which kind of remained a trend for horror figures, like where they were kind of in one articulated, sculpted pose up until kind of recently. But I do have a few of these figures, and we're gonna look at them right away. This is the first. This is one of the first figures that came out. This is the Freddy Krueger one, and as you can see, very limited articulation, no leg articulation whatsoever, waist articulation. He's got this, you know, kind of gesture here. Light swatting, I guess, could be an accurate term. I'm sure the YouTube comments will find another term, but. So this figure was like, his head sculpt and his face sculpt isn't really that great. And this was actually the bloody variant of that figure. But yeah, this is just a taste of what was coming into the forefront of the horror toy, you know, genre, if you will. We also have the Brundlefly, and this is one of the better figures. They're still I don't think it's short side of a dumb Funko Pop. I don't even think there's a Funko Pop of the Brundlefly. But this is like one of the only figures of Brundlefly from the Cronenberg remake of The Fly, and this is Jeff Goldblum in his final stage. He's even got some wounds here. This figure is awesome. It has these like little rubbery, jiggly, gross little blood. His like blood was leaking out, or that maybe that's his like vomit or something. But then he also has like these little hairs on here and on his face. Like it captures the look of that disgusting creature from the climax of the film pretty perfectly. He looks great on display. Yeah, so I remember seeing this guy a lot and I had never seen the movie, and just seeing him, and I was just like, nope. I was so freaked out by how this dude looked. And then I remember one Halloween I did catch David Cronenberg's The Fly on TV. I was watching it thinking, I was like, oh, Jeff Goldblum, Jurassic Park, really? Yeah, all right. And then, you know, slowly but surely he became this disgusting creature, and I was like, oh my, you know, I was completely horrified. Absolutely hit its mark with me. And so yeah, I have good memories with The Fly, and so this is an awesome figure. I found this whole bundle of Movie Maniacs. All the Movie Maniacs I had when I was a kid, they're all destroyed now because, again, they were very fragile. So we also have Pumpkinhead from the Stan Winston directed film. Stan Winston also, he's known for his makeup effects and stuff like that, and Lance Hendricks starred in this movie. Pumpkinhead is incredibly awesome. This is a really cool figure. The only downside is that he doesn't stand well. Luckily, he's given this bendy tails, so he can kind of just lean into his own tail every now and then. But yeah, the sculpt on this thing is crazy. And compared to Freddy Krueger, you know, he's a really big figure, so that's really cool. That's something that you don't see too often anymore, is like figures that are kind of out of scale with each other, or not out of scale, or rather in scale, I should say, and that like the Ninja Turtles, the new Ninja Turtles, they're kind of all within the same parameters as each other, they're all this kind of same height, and that's kind kind of lame because they all are different heights. So McFarlane Toys did not hesitate. They're in the 90s. Toys were doing crazy things. They're huge and they were cheaper and it was a great time. But now that's the last one. We have The Thing. This is the creature from like kind of the final bit of the film, and it has like an amalgamation of all of the forms that it had took during the movie. Again, like I said, I got this from a thrift store. I got a whole lot of them from a thrift store. So mine is missing pieces, and he is also missing that little spider head that I believe that famous spider head that in the movie. He's missing that, but yeah, it's still really good for display. So that's a really fun toy. And there isn't that much The Thing because he takes so many forms and all that stuff. So it's kind of a little ambitious for anyone to take on. So now we're gonna move on to a little bit different of action figures. These are these were in the 90s, and Puppetmaster. Puppetmaster is a film made by Full Moon Features, and they came out in the 90s, and they are awesome films. They're like the horror movie version of Toy Story, if you will, and what's cool is like throughout the films, it kind of depends on who's controlling them. Is kind of if they're good or bad or not, so kind of the first movie they're kind of bad, and then the second, and as they go on, they kind of, I think by the third one, Toulon's Revenge, they're like full-on good guys. It's like an origin story and stuff. And they're doing a movie universe before anyone else. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so I have a ton of these figures. These are awesome figures. These were made by Full Moon. They had them produced. So I have a few of the mainline characters, and then I have a few of the weirder characters. So these are obviously my favorite. They're like the main characters. We got Tunneler here, and what's really cool about these figures is that they were, not only were they like, those McFarlane Toys, they were kind of more directed towards adults. It was adult collector action figures. They were meant to kind of stay in the package. But these had action features, so these were like, Toy Biz X-Men toys that you were getting in the 90s too, so they all had action features. So Tunneler here, he can spin his tunneling head with this like little thing here, and so that's really cool. Also for the collectors, they kind of catered to both of those markets, and they had variants, and this is like a gold variant of Tunneler. And jerk. Okay, there we go. And then another very popular one is Pinhead here. And obviously his name's Pinhead for a reason. He's got a tiny little head. And he's got these huge hands. So these figures aren't like in scale with like how big the Puppetmaster figures would actually be. There are replicas and stuff out there, but they're very expensive. And these are just fun little action figures from the 90s, and they're great. Very limited articulation again. His legs bend here, but not really much purpose. I don't really understand why they even included that, but his arms do have good articulation, so that's cool. And then his action feature is like nothing related to his character, whatever. He just pokes up his head a little. His power is to grow a neck. His action feature is neck growing power. So it's kind of like Mechaneck from Masters of the Universe. And then we have, so these two are my favorites. We got Blade, and he's great. He's an awesome figure. Awesome character in general. You see his origin in the third one. I highly recommend you check these movies out, especially now during October, Halloween, spooky time. So he has a lot of these figures have, like, if they have a coat or something, they have like a cool cloth material. This is like a cool like windbreaker type of material. He has like interchangeable hands because this is like his little quirk is that he has like hooks and blades and stuff, hence the name Blade. And then his hat is like a fuzzy kind of material, like a flocked, and then he's got hair, and then I haven't replaced his batteries, but his eyes light up, so that's really cool. I don't even know if they work or not. But yeah, and then finally my favorite, and I know he's kind of like a fan favorite. I believe his debut was in 2. This is Torch. Torch is yeah, he's a badass. Obviously, his name is pretty self-explanatory too. But the cool part is that his action feature actually works. Check that out. And then his like little arm flame attachment actually lights up too. But yeah, and so moving along, we have these other ones here. These were some of the other figures in the line. You know, I'm sure Six Gun is right here is really popular with fans too. But he's cool. He's kind of like the American cowboy, kind of like like if Woody got bit by a radioactive spider. Yeah, he's got cool little cloth and stuff. And then Jester. So the kind of second tier characters kind of have like the better abilities. Like this one, he kind of his head spins around and changes emotion and stuff. So that's pretty cool. And then Leech Woman, one of the freakier figures of the line. She's got her dress here, her dark black eyes, and real hair, and she's got her powers that she pukes leeches on people. Yeah, really, really. I mean, it would freak me out if I saw it. So if I saw a doll that looks like this and it was puking leeches at me, yeah, I'd be scared. I wonder why. But yeah, definitely scary. And then finally, I think I'm actually not precisely sure which movie this one's from, but it's the Cyclops, and he you know, he's kind of like just like an action figure. Comes with comes with a little spyglass. That's cool, right? And then his mouth moves up and down. But yeah, so these figures were awesome. These, you know, I remember asking for these quite a bit when I was younger, but you know. The Leech Woman, my parents saw, and they're like, maybe not, you know. And then all of the, you know, they're like so weird and oblong and deranged looking and stuff. So I can see why the parents would be hesitant to. I mean, they let me watch all these movies. I don't know why it mattered, but yeah, I can see why. But yeah, so we're gonna move along, and so these are great figures. I try and track them down. It's pretty hard now. I remember trying to I was lucky enough to get them in a lot where they were all together, so that was actually really convenient. You know, if you can find a lot, yeah, maybe go for it. Sometimes they kind of fluctuate in popularity, you know, and especially now since I'm talking about them. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so yeah, maybe look them up. Yeah, so if you haven't, or if you had them, let me know. I'd be really interested to see just how many people or how many kids out there had them, or how many adults still have some and are still in package. I know someone who still has a few of their figures still in the package. Okay, now we're going to move on to kind of like a newer, more modern era of these figures of the horror genre. And we have some figures from NECA Toys. So these are really cool. Let's start with one of my favorites. We got Ash from Army of Darkness 2. Or Army of Darkness 2. Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. So I had this base from an Army of Darkness figure that NECA previously did, and I thought that the Ash that came from the 25th anniversary series would fit right on there, and he does, and he looked great. So a lot of these figures were actually in storage. So when I dug them out, Ash was missing his boomstick. So total epic fail, bro. On my point. But yeah, so this figure's awesome. This is, you know, what NECA was finally starting to listen to fans, and they want more articulation and leg articulation stuff, because NECA was making a lot of figures like with their movie, well, I think it was called, yeah, Cult Classics line. And a lot of those didn't really, they were kind of like what McFarlane was doing towards the end of the movie Maniacs line, and that was kind of just little tiny plastic statues where they didn't move at all, they didn't really do much, but these figures, you know, they do. They have a wider range of emotion because, you know, people like to take pictures of their stuff. You know, they want to get them in different poses and stuff. They don't want just the same, you know, picture over and over and over again, especially now with our wonderful world of social media. But yeah, so this is a great figure. I cherish this figure dearly. He's awesome. Yeah, so I left him in a box for like a couple months. But but yeah, he's really cool because he's got like his clothes are like almost like rubber kind of feeling. And there was a couple other figures in this line. There was the basement witch, you know, that Ted Raimi played, and yeah, so the awesome little line. NECA will kind of every kind of now and then when an anniversary of a movie kind of comes along, they'll kind of obtain the license, make a cool little commemorative series for them, and then, you know, kind of wipe their hands clean of it. But they have been, you know, since, you know, Ash vs. Evil Dead is out now, and so they've been doing figures for those, and there's been some newer 2-packs. So if you want to get this figure, there's a 2-pack with Evil Ed and him together. I would buy that pack just for the Evil Ed alone, just because you know, you can't ever get, you know, the Deadite figures enough because there just aren't that many. And then the witch monkey thing from the basement at the climax of the film as well. But yeah, great figure from NECA. Put him back on his base here, and then we're gonna grab another figure out. Freddy looks good. So I showed off one of during our Legendary Directors episode. We talked about Toby Hooper and Texas Chainsaw and stuff, and I had a Texas Chainsaw Leatherface figure from NECA in their Mego style. So they've been making these horror figures and cult movie figures after the Mego style action figures from the days of late. And so these figures, they're a little taller, as you can see. I'll put him next to Ash. Only in Ash's dreams, I guess, would he be like that, but in his nightmares. But so they are a little bigger. They're kind of more around like the 7-8 inch mark, and but they kind of have like that kind of classic Mego kind of articulation, better hands and better sculpting, obviously. But the real kind of draw to these is that, you know, they fit in that style. They have this very artistic packaging and stuff, and they have like the clothes and stuff, kind of like the 112 line, but obviously not in the same scale. This Freddy is from the second one. Obviously, you can tell because of he peels his skin off his head in the second one when he possesses one of the humans victims in that movie. Yeah, it's a really cool figure. NECA does a really good job at these figures, you know, with the paint details and stuff. I would say the only gripe with this figure is this sweater is so thick on him, and then like, you know, he doesn't have the burns that go very far. They don't go up his arm past his hand. There's a little bit, so it's kind of like if you actually looked under Robert Englund's sweater during the films or something like that. It kind of makes me feel a little creepy when I do stuff like that, but yeah, totally. Yeah, cool figure from NECA, and we'll have a final NECA figure right here. So I thought this was a really cool figure to show. They have like an ultimate, you know, line of certain figures, and they pack it full of accessories, and they put this cool, like, it's almost like a VHS box. I actually have the VHS, boink, right there. So you can kind of line it up, but this has a cool motion thing. Ooh, wow, 3D. So this is Friday the 13th Part 3. This is a great figure. Show it already. So here it is. We'll go down close. And yeah, so it has an awesome presentation. I mean, just look at this figure. So it has a really cool graphic of the figure, and then there's the Part 3 Jason in there. 2 different heads, one with the head wound from the axe, and then one not. There's kind of a flaw where they put the blood dripping down his neck, so it kind of, with the unwounded head, it kind of looks weird. It's like, why does he just have blood on his neck? I don't know. Jason's a bloody guy. He stabs a lot of people, so, you know, I guess you could pass it off that way, but inconsistencies. So, and then he comes with a ton of weapons, all of which he uses in the film, because that was kind of the gimmick at the time. This was only the 3rd one, and he had only had his mask for like 1 movie now, so this was the 2nd movie with the hockey mask. So he got the pitchfork, the fire poker, the classic machete, He's got the wood chopping axe. Up here we got the harpoon gun, which is one of the cooler and also very, very cheesy kills of the movie. You can see the line, that the little wire that that the harpoon flies on. And then he's got a knife and a wrench and, oh yeah, I said pitchfork. But yeah, so that's a really cool figure. Also, this figure has leg articulation. So he fits really well, and he has like a really great sculpt, really great paint apps, really cool figure altogether. I really like it. All right, so we're going right through, and we're gonna look at. I thought it was only fitting because of Friday 13th tomorrow, and since we can only generate enough power to in the bunker to broadcast one day a week, wink wink. That I thought that it would be fitting if we added some more Jason figures in there. So that Jason figure kind of opened the mat, and here we go. So Mezco, the ones that made the 112 line, they also made a few of these Jason figures. The Cinema of Fear line had quite a few of these different Jason flavors, if you will. So first we're gonna talk about this one. This is from I want to get it right. I don't want to mess it up. This is part 6. Okay, I always mix this up with part 4 for some reason. So this is the part 6 Jason. This is when Tommy Jarvis brings him back to life because he just can't let Jason go. He would have been dead. He would have just been in his grave, but no, he had to stab him. His corpse with a big fence post, and then lightning struck it. What are the chances of that? That's why this figure comes with Jason Voorhees' grave. It's gonna be like, hey, look at there's. Oh wow, look at my grave. Wow. Oh, I dropped my machete. But yeah, this figure is awesome. One of those flaws, no leg articulation. But you know, at least his. I don't think any of this, some of the Cinema of Fear line figures did have leg articulation. It was very minimal, but this Jason does not. He's got the articulated elbows, and he actually does have a kind of a little articulated wrist there, which is nice. It can bend back and forward, and then you can also remove his mask, which is also a great feature of any Jason figure, which you just gotta have that. This is one of the cooler Jason figures because he looks more like a zombie. He's got like this. He's got maggots in his eye. He's all because this Jason wasn't chilling in a lake, or I don't know. For this Jason, for some reason, you know, he died, and so then he's like all zombified and zombie looking when he got resurrected. There's an awesome shot of him with, like, you know, he's all covered in mealworms because they never use real maggots in movies. But yeah, so this is a really great figure. He's awesome. This is one of my favorite versions of Jason. Yeah, oh, if he's your favorite, why can't you remember which one he's from? I don't know. I'm just a brain dead person, I guess. I don't know. But this Jason is one of my favorites because he actually wears gloves. You know, like in like part 3, his hands they don't really have makeup on there, so it's just like a normal guy's hands. So I like that they like covered up his hands in this one because obviously, you know, they'd be like all rotted away and stuff. They didn't feel like doing the makeup for that, so they just put good old work gloves over him. But yeah, well, during the movie, he's got like all these like knives and all this stuff all over him and stuff. So I like the outfit of this one. He's like wearing a belt with like all this stuff on there. It's kind of cool. So yeah, then we have this other Jason here. This Jason is from their more stylized version right here below. As you can see, we have a Leatherface version, and we have this Jason version. So they're very stylized. You know, he's kind of like got this huge hunched over back, and then, you know, he's got the knife, which actually doesn't belong to him. I gave it to him because when I bought this from the thrift store, he only had his like little pike here. And this is I believe this is a variant because he has the blue coat instead of the green coat. And then he's got that really cool head wound on there. And like, of course, you can just absolutely take that mask off. Only a face Jason's mother could love. Mom, Mama, why are you dead? I worship your head. Hey, it rhymed. That was awesome. Unplanned rhyme. But yeah, a great figure, really cool. You know, it's becoming ever popular, but at the time, this whole like cloth on top of like sculpted figure, kind of uncommon. So obviously, why his scale is a little bit bigger. This is a weird scale for these figures. I think they put them in their own scale because of just how weird and funky their like style was and stuff. But still, really, really cool. And then finally, but definitely not, we're gonna have to go up here. This is the 12-inch tall Mezco Cinema of Fear. This is from Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. This is my favorite Friday the 13th film. Obviously the coolest Jason because he's the most zombified. So he was chilling at the bottom of the lake with the chain wrapped around him, and he was just sitting there, you know, dormant. And then you know, what do you have it? A psychic girl getting treatment, mental treatment, unleashes her psychic powers on the pier and wakes Jason up. Geez, what if I had a nickel for every time something like that happened? But yeah, so that's how Jason wakes up in this one. And then it's kind of like this cool, like, where it's like, this is like one of the only times where you see Jason like mad in a movie, because he's like always got the one-up on these pardon my French, these dumbass kids. They're so stupid. But then this chick, she actually like fights back. She actually like, you know, Professor Xavier's him like into the wall and stuff. So that's really cool. And you know, he just sends some shit flying at him and stuff. So really cool. Again, you can take off his mask. It's like pried onto his face. I actually took him out of the package for this review. Oh, he's got like little, it's like there's like little grooves for his mask to just sit in here. There we go. So there is like the coolest version of Jason's face underneath there. He's like, ah, so awesome. Love that. So cool. And then he's got his back all tore up. This figure. What's weird is like he's got like a cloth fabric jacket, the cool chain, but he's got the sculpted pants and stuff. I think that's just, you know, it's easier probably. You know, they just didn't want to bother with it. So understandable. Still a great figure, and this is an awesome must-have for any Jason collector out there. So happy early Friday the 13th for all my Jason fans out there. I probably have the most Jason figures like out of any horror stuff I would think, actually. So that's pretty cool. So we're moving along. Next, I have this actually really cool figure from a kind of a newer movie, Wolf Cop. Wolf Cop is an awesome movie. I highly recommend you go check it out. It's on like Amazon, iTunes, probably on YouTube. I don't see how you could not pass up this film. If you're into horror movies, if you're into kind of like, you know, the goofy 80s kind of genre, this is like a very self-aware kind of film, obviously. So this cop gets infected with the werewolf virus, or cursed. The classic term, he's cursed to be a werewolf, and he is an alcoholic cop, so he becomes an alcoholic werewolf cop. So how cool is that? So this was actually like a Kickstarter exclusive figure. So if you contributed to the Kickstarter for the movie and stuff, they actually gave you this figure. So he's actually made out of soft vinyl, and I'm gonna crack this guy right open, and we're gonna open it up. I love like the 80s style, like the neon, and nothing on the bottom there. It's just really cool. Like, look at that back. That is so cool. No pictures of the figure, but you know, they just probably in Photoshop. So he's got this tray, very loud, very plastic tray. And so we'll just take him right out. Look at that. Kicking action. Kicking them when they're down action. So he's got quite a few accessories. He's got 3 here. Bottles of alcohol, very large. These look like 40s. and his pistol. And so there we go. Okay, there we go. And so now Wolf Cop is ready to fight cult crime. So this figure is incredible. Oh my God, I love this guy. I rarely do I ever like really bust him out of his package, but he's really cool. Very limited articulation, but way better than a lot of other horror figures out there. He's got the leg articulation here and at the knee. Really cool sculpting. He's got the werewolf claws coming out of the bottom, and really great sculpting on the face, and a really great paint deco on this guy too. His back is all hunched. You can see his like spine coming out. Still got the tie on though. That's great. And a working holster. Not many action figures. Well, I mean, almost all action figures need working holsters now. But yeah, totally. It's just a really cool figure. I'm not really sure what material he's made out of. He kind of feels like soft vinyl. That's what I said before, but I'm actually not really sure. But this is just a really cool figure. I love this guy. So if you have not seen Wolf Cop, please check it out. And if you, good luck finding this guy. I think there was like a commercial release later on, kind of like more recently. So maybe you could still find it actually. But yeah, if you want this guy, definitely check him out. Oh, I forgot to put one of his bottles of booze in his hand. I don't promote alcoholism, but boy, is a werewolf drinker funny, I guess. Even on the back of the thing, he's like drinking the 40 there, so you can recreate those moments of the film. So yeah, and now we're finally gonna get to the some of the best figures of my collection. You might be saying, VideoVomit, what the hell? You got so many. Could you have any better? And I do have better ones. So here we go. I think we'll go with this one first. So this is the 3-0 Hellraiser figure, Hell on Earth. This is the 1/6 scale, so this is huge. I'm going to try and do this a little quicker so we have more time for the other figures. So just look at this guy. He's huge, and he has so many accessories, so many hands. 3-0 is known for going like all out with their figures. Just absolutely bananas. He's got, I thought this is really cool to show off, the actual cube from the films. No Pinhead Hellraiser action figure is complete without the puzzle box. You called us, we came. So we're just gonna look at the figure, and here we go. He's got the plastic on him still. So this figure is awesome. He actually has, we'll bring it down here. He actually has metal pins in his head. They're showing up on camera here, but yeah, just absolutely insane. He's got like a little hook in the back of his head. This is like this really cool leathery material. He's got these disgusting nipple flaps or whatever these are, but they're actually like rubbery. Oh God, just. But yeah, we'll bring this back up here, and so this figure is awesome, just incredible. He's got like these like stigmata hands as well, but then he's got like a saw thing and some knives, and these figures are just insane, crazy detail all up and down. The paint decos on these are insanely good, like down to the teeth. Like the teeth look like, it's wet inside his mouth. The eyes, it looks like, he's got actual like, moisture going on in there. How does Pinhead wash his face in the morning? He probably doesn't. That's probably why his skin looks so bad. Wash your face, kids. But yeah, so just absolutely just insane figure. Definitely, if you're into the 1/6 scale stuff, and you're a collector of horror stuff at that, definitely pick this figure up. Next up, we got a little something. I'm hiding behind all the toys. Next up, we got something a little smaller. Any good horror fan will know exactly what this is. This is a good guy doll. This is actually in scale. I'm 99% positive up here. With the 1/6 scale figures. I'm pretty sure that this box would be like a little big for the Chucky doll, but you'll see why in a second. So I'm going to open it up down here, and inside our little Chucky doll has no good guy doll, in fictional or otherwise, would have this many weapons, but with him. But he comes with his good guy brand hammer, baseball bat, a knife, and he comes with the sacrifice dagger. And so I opened mine ahead of time, and he was looking a little bare minimum on the paint details and stuff. So I decided to customize mine a little bit, make them look different. I kind of used some black wash paint on there, and I kind of made some like burn marks on him. It's really cool because he's got like the fake doll hair. Like almost all the Chucky toys out there have like real hair, because it's just like kind of like an easy way to make it feel like a doll. And then he's got the clothes, and I weathered some of the clothes as well, and his hands and all that stuff. But yeah, I've been having a ball taking pictures of. My old man speak. I've been having a really good time taking pictures of this figure. He's just so awesome, and it's really funny to like put him next to like Pinhead or Jason or something like that, like just like them together, you know. Like Chucky just ends up in the custody of Pinhead or something. So that's really funny. Yeah, this was made by NECA. This is those other figures like the Freddy and the Leatherface right here. This is in that same line as them, but this figure kind of more along the lines fits like scale-wise with these larger figures, which I find really cool. So so if you're into that one scale collecting, like I was just talking about, you now have like a cool Chucky until 3.0 or Hot Toys maybe even they decide to make their own Chucky. I would love to see, I didn't bring my Blu-ray, but the Cult of Chucky kind of style, or Curse of Chucky style, like super nice and clean looking with the new kind of sculpted face. I think that would be a really cool figure to have. A short review of Cult of Chucky, I actually really liked it. I've been seeing a lot of hate for it on the internet, but I actually thought it was kind of cool. I think it's cool that his daughter is involved. The Chucky actor, he contributes his voice to it. I think it's cool that his daughter is involved with the films now. I think it's cool that the film kind of went a different angle with it. There's a version on Netflix right now, but it's like the rated R version, and there's some stuff cut out of it. So I got the Blu-ray. And it has the unrated stuff on there. So I'm not actually sure what the difference is. Maybe I'll watch it just to see the difference. But I really enjoyed the unrated version. Maybe there might be some kind of difference why people didn't like it or not. Maybe they cut away, but it was very gory, very, very crazy, very like outlandish kills almost. And the one-liners, there were one-liners, and there can't be a modern Chucky movie now without the one-liners. But yeah. So now we're going to move on to our very last figure, but our very last figure is a really cool figure. I opened the box ahead of time to save myself some trouble. So we have another 3.0 figure here. This is the box for it. Incredible. I didn't get to show off the Hellraiser box that well, but they have like this really cool foil kind of look on there. I think that's so cool. So looking, there we go, already pre-cooked and brought out. This is the Michael figure. Michael Myers figures, if you're not like a horror collector, or if you're not a Halloween fan or something, Michael Myers figures are like they're very far and few between. We had kind of like a little golden age a little while ago when NECA was kind of like pumping out a bunch of them, but with this one, this is like extremely articulated, extremely detailed. He's got the real hair, and if you get a little My Little Pony comb, you could comb his locks all day, and you could give him funny hairstyles. If you can give him a sweet blowout if you want. But yeah, this figure is awesome, down to the paint deco on the clothes, you know, like down here on the legs and the boots. The boots have laces. They feel like real boots, real tiny little boots. It has mud all over him. He's got the blood all over him. And the mask, like the sculpting on the mask, I'll bring it in a little closer. The sculpting on the mask is really cool. It's got this really cool texture to it. And then you can look into those cold, dead eyes, those dead, cold eyes, and you can actually see the eyes, Michael's eyes underneath the mask, which is actually really, really cool. He comes with a few different things. He comes with like a clean knife, and he comes with a dirty knife, all bloodied up one, and then he comes with a little hatchet. Which I watched The Curse of Michael Myers, like the movie that this figure's from. No hatchet. It's a full-on axe. So they actually got like the modeling of the little accessory wrong. So I will never, ever put that in his hand. No, just I thought that was actually funny. If you watch The Curse of Michael Myers, do not watch the regular version. You have to watch the producer's cut. The director, the original director of that film, destroyed the movie with horrible editing. The director and the editor destroyed the film with horrible editing, but the producer's cut is actually like so miles ahead better that was actually Donald Pleasance, the guy who plays Loomis. It was his last Halloween film, and the director cut a lot of his scenes out in the original cut because he found him boring. Like that is. Oh God, so it's the one with Paul Rudd in it. If you're confused, so Paul Rudd plays the Tommy, the boy, Tommy from the very first film, the one that Laurie was babysitting. He's all grown up and he's into witchcraft. So the movie's actually really cool. I actually really enjoy it. You know, I hadn't seen it in a really long time, so seeing it again was actually really cool. And seeing that the producer's cut, not that horrible director's cut. There's horrible editing. Like during every kill sequence, there's like these weird flashy montages. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's the worst. But I just wanted to say this before we move on and I start to wrap up the show. Michael has working pockets. He can actually put his hands in his pocket, and he's just like, waiting around. I thought that was awesome. But yeah, so this is a 3-0 Michael Myers figure. This is like just came out. I had him on pre-order for a while from BigBadToyStore.com, and he showed up at my door, and I was like, this figure is worth building an entire episode around, so this is the figure that inspired the whole episode today. Wow. You know, we could say it was the Jason figures too. So, today was a lot of fun. I don't want Michael to fall on his face and embarrass himself on live. But oh, look at that! Look at them all together. And then we'll put Chucky here too. This was an awesome episode. I'm so happy I got to do this. I love horror movies. I love action figures. I love horror movie action figures. What were some of your favorite horror movie action figures when you were growing up? When you were collecting back in the '90s or whatever? Do you have a list of some of your favorite horror toys? I would love to hear some feedback about what the best horror toys in your opinion are. You can follow me on Instagram at VideoVomit. I'll be posting a ton of pictures of all these figures, kind of getting the spirit of Halloween. If you like this video, you can hit that like button and hit the subscribe button, do all that fun jazz. And then also, I thought I should do this little plug really fast. This weekend is my first run, the first edition of my vinyl Sofubi toy, Zangachi. You can go to my website, www.videovomit.bigcartel.com, and I'll be releasing that on this Sunday at 12 p.m. at Central Standard Time. I'm going to be selling the painted edition for $100, and then I'll be putting up blank versions of the Sofubi for $80 afterwards. So this is a big deal. This is like this is the first batch of them. There's only 5 of each, so there's only 5 painted and only 5 blank. And that's all I'll be releasing up until I go to DesignerCon in California in November. So and I'll be doing some cool one-offs for that, one-off painted Zingachis. But I just want to say thank you so much. I'm really grateful, Jesus, for all the support and for all the advice, and everyone has been really awesome about the show, and everyone's been really awesome about my toy. So I can't thank you all enough, and I thank you for your interest in what I'm doing, and so that's really, it means a lot to me. So thank you so much. I am just very grateful. It moves me. It moves me. It moves this humble bunker dweller to tears. Until next time, guys. Same bunker time, same bunker place. Adios.